Gas is expensive, SUVs are bloated, and everyone swears their hybrid is the best thing since sliced bread. But in 2026, Toyota and Subaru came swinging with two of the most trusted names in the game, the RAV4 and the Forester, and both claim they've leveled up big time. One's flexing tech and power, the other's betting on grit and safety. What's up? It's Scott from CarLandTV, and today we're breaking down the 2026 Toyota RAV4 versus 2026 Subaru Forester to see which one's the real deal and which one's just selling hype. But first, do me a quick favor. Tap that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. It ain't required, but those clicks keep this thing rolling and make it easier for me to keep dropping solid car content straight to your screen. Now let's get back into it. Two legends, one showdown. I'm kicking this off with reality, not hype. Toyota's bringing the 6th-gen RAV4 by early 2026 with a hybrid standard and a PHEV that's projected to push longer EV-only range and quicker charging than before. That tracks with Toyota's own rollout cadence and sales momentum, since RAV4 has been America's best-selling SUV for years running. Subaru's counterpunch is the latest Gen Forester lineup, including the Wilderness that now sits higher than before and leans hard into real traction and visibility with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive and eyesight. Bet you've seen both all over your neighborhood for a reason. Here's what matters to buyers this year. Powertrains are going efficiently without getting soft. Toyota Safety Sense 3 brings lane tracing, radar cruise, and intersection assist style features that show up across trims, while Subaru's latest eyesight adds wider angle camera coverage and improved pedestrian and cyclist detection. Both brands move the ball on driver assist, but they approach it differently. Toyota layers, software, defined upgrades across the cabin and safety stack, while Subaru keeps the focus on clear outward visibility and conservative, confidence-first tuning. Use case check. If your life is school runs, Costco, and a 2-hour highway loop every weekend, the RAV4's hybrid system and projected prime upgrades look set to crush fuel stops and keep the cabin tech feeling fresh through the ownership cycle. If your world is wet roads, steep drives, and trailheads, the Forester's standard all-wheel drive, revised wilderness ride height around 9.3 inches, and eyesight tuning make daily driving simple when the weather gets weird. No cap, these are two different flavors of smart. The goal for this video is simple. I'm sorting out which one earns your money in 2026 based on proven safety tech, real sales data, and verifiable hardware, not showroom talk. Design and first impressions. At first glance, the 2026 RAV4 looks tougher and cleaner. Boxier body, sharper front, and a cockpit that finally feels modern with the bigger digital cluster and a center screen that goes up to around 12 to 13 inches on upper trims. Toyota's clearly leaning into a tech-forward vibe, and the hybrid-only lineup pairs well with that image. It reads like a city-ready rig that still looks legit in the suburbs. Slide over to the new Forester, and it's a different play. The 6th-gen shape keeps the upright glasshouse and big windows, so sightlines are money. The Wilderness trim tells the story fast. 9.3 inches of clearance, chunkier Geolandar A, divided by T-rubber, beefed-up approach and departure angles, and real hardware changes like a shorter final drive ratio. Details. I clock right away inside the Subaru. Spacious cabin, simple controls, and that familiar Subaru practicality. The front camera's resolution still isn't great, so parking to trail transitions aren't as crisp as they should be, but the fundamentals are there. Wilderness also brings 3,500 pounds of towing, skid protection, and the stance looks right at stock height. If your driveway points at dirt, this setup makes sense straight from the lot. Quick verdict on looks and first sit. RAV4 comes off like the tech-forward daily with more polish and screen real estate. Forester leans authentic outdoors, with real clearance and geometry that back up the look. If you want curb appeal and a modern cabin, Toyota's the pick. If you want a rig that's ready for bad weather and trailheads without mods, Subaru takes it. Seriously, both nailed their identities this year. Engines, hybrids, and all-wheel drive. Toyota's play for 2026 is simple. A hybrid-only lineup, plus a plug-in that hits harder. The regular hybrid makes 226 horsepower in front-wheel drive and 236 horsepower with all-wheel drive. The plug-in hybrid steps up to roughly 320 HP, with a claimed range of around 50 miles of EV range and DC fast charging on select trims. That's rare for a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle and a legit road trip perk. AWD behavior matters more than brochure numbers. RAV4 hybrid all-wheel drive uses a dedicated rear electric motor to add traction on demand, and Toyota rates most configurations to tow up to 3,500 pounds when equipped right. That rear motor hits instantly, so launches in the wet field planted without drama. It's a clean setup for school runs, rain, and light trails without burning extra fuel. Subaru sticks to its formula, a 2.5-liter Boxer 4 with 180 horsepower and 178 pound-feet through a CVT and standard symmetrical all-wheel drive. Dual-function X mode handles snow, dirt, and steeper stuff, and the center clutch locks quicker on the new gen to cut wheel spin. Wilderness trims go further with a shorter 4.1 final drive, which helps on climbs and low-speed control. That's real hardware, not marketing. Towing separates the trims. Most Foresters are rated at 1,500 pounds, while the Wilderness is bumped to 3,500 pounds, thanks to cooling and gearing changes. If I'm hauling a small camper or a couple of dirt bikes, I'm looking at the RAV4 hybrid with the tow package or Forester Wilderness. Different paths, same goal. Usable torque, stable pull, and traction you can trust when the pavement ends. Interior comfort and tech. Cabin vibe first. Toyota leaned into a cleaner dash with a standard 12.3-inch digital cluster and a center screen that's 10.5 inches on most trims, with an optional 12.9 on higher grades. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are baked in, and the interface feels familiar if you've touched any recent Toyota audio multimedia setup. Seats are supportive, the wheel buttons are simple, and the storage nooks around the shifter are practical. That's the daily life stuff I notice right away. Space check. RAV4 gives you about 37.5 cubic feet behind the second row and roughly 69.8 cubes with the seats flat, which is solid for strollers, camera gear, or a weekend Costco run. Forester still fights above its weight on cargo, about 30 cubes behind the rear seats and up to roughly 74.4 with the seats down. The Subaru's upright glass and big windows help the cabin feel roomier than the tape measure suggests, and getting bulky stuff through the wide hatch opening is easy. Screens and UX. Most Forester trims move to Subaru's 11.6-inch Portrait Starlink unit with wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. The base keeps dual 7-inch screens. You can opt for driver focus, which uses an infrared camera to cue you if you're nodding off or looking away, and it integrates cleanly with the latest eyesight updates. Toyota counters with the larger available 12.9-inch display, solid voice controls, and a straightforward menu structure that pairs well with the 12.3-inch cluster. Both systems support over-the-air feature growth, which keeps the cabin tech feeling fresh over time. Seat comfort and materials. The Forester Wilderness uses StarTex upholstery that's water-resistant and easy to wipe after wet hikes or sandy beach days. Plus, heated seats come standard on that trim. Toyota's higher trims bring nicer, soft-touch surfaces and an optional JBL audio that outperforms Subaru's base setup. Road trip takeaway is simple. If I'm living outdoors, Subaru's layout and wipe-clean materials are money. If I'm commuting hard and want clean graphics with strong smartphone integration, the RAV4 hits the brief. Safety and reliability. I judge safety by verified data, not brochures. For 2026, Toyota says RAV4 rolls with the latest Toyota Safety Sense and updated Toyota audio multimedia, so you're getting lane tracing, adaptive cruise, and intersection style assists baked in across trims. Subaru matches with standard eyesight on every Forester and optional driver focus, which uses an infrared camera to flag distraction or drowsiness. That combo is why Forester testers keep talking about clean visibility and fewer surprises in traffic. Crash test receipts matter. IIHS shows the 2025 Forester earns a top safety pick for most trims on the new, tougher criteria, with good scores in the small overlap tests. The 2025 RAV4 posts strong crashworthiness too, but gets mixed marks in the updated moderate overlap and side tests, so trim choice and headlights matter. If you live where it rains or snows 6 months a year, standard symmetrical all-wheel drive plus those ratings make the Forester an easy call for cautious drivers. Reliability is why these two sell like crazy. Consumer Reports' 2025 brand rankings put Subaru, Lexus, and Toyota at the top for predicted reliability, and J.D. Power's 2025 Vehicle Dependability Study lists the RAV4 as a model-level award winner. That tracks with ownership cost staying chill after the warranty. That's the kind of data that keeps resale strong and insurance quotes sensible. I also watch recalls because they tell you how a brand responds under pressure. Example, NHTSA posted a November 2025 campaign covering over 1 million Toyota and Lexus vehicles, plus some Subaru Solterra units, for a panoramic camera software issue that could blank the rear view. It's a software flash at the dealer, so it's not a deal breaker. But it's the kind of thing I factor in if you rely on camera views every day. Real-world driving. Daily commute first. RAV4 leans quietly and relaxed, with a ride that soaks up busted pavement and wind noise kept in check. Steering is light and not super talkative, which keeps fatigue low on long highway slogs. That hybrid setup also helps the cabin stay calm in traffic since the engine isn't screaming every time you tip into the throttle. If your drive is school runs and interstates, this tune is easy to live with. Grip and traction. Toyota's hybrid all-wheel drive uses a dedicated rear electric motor that kicks in when the fronts start to skate, so launches in rain feel planted and mid-corner corrections are smooth. It's seamless around town and on gravel pullouts because there's no clutch delay to wake up the rear axle. For light trails and winter commutes, that e-motor assist does real work without a fuel penalty. Forester plays a different game. Symmetrical AWD with X mode is tuned for lousy weather and loose surfaces, and it locks things down fast when traction drops. On the road, the ride is comfortable, and cabin noise is better than the last General. Steering feel is still on the light side, and body motions show up if you push, but for normal speeds, it's composed and predictable. If you live where it rains or snows a lot, this setup is clutch, trailheads, and towing. Forester Wilderness adds a shorter 4.11 final drive, all-terrain tires, and the extra clearance to clear ruts without sweating the approach angle. That trim also bumps towing to 3,500 pounds, so small campers or sleds are fair game. RAV4 Hybrid can tow when equipped right, but if your weekends include rough access roads plus a trailer, Subaru's hardware advantage shows up quickly. Bet that matters more than a spec sheet brag. Which SUV wins? Here's how I'd call it if you handed me both keys today. Daily commuter with kid duty, long highway stretches, and zero patience for fuel stops points me at RAV4. The hybrid powertrains are efficient, the cabin tech is clean, and road noise is dialed down. If you live on pavement and want trouble-free miles, that recipe works. Different story if your zip code gets real weather or your weekends include dirt lots and trailheads. Forester's standard symmetrical all-wheel drive, clear sightlines, and the Wilderness hardware give you confidence when traction falls apart. The shorter final drive and extra clearance are not gimmicks. If I'm dealing with slush, ruts, or steep gravel, Subaru's tuning feels more planted. Towing and utility are basically a split decision. RAV4 Hybrid can be optioned to pull a small trailer and stays calm doing it. Forester Wilderness carries the 3,500-pound rating with the cooling and gearing to match. If a camper or pair of bikes is part of your plan, either works. But I'd lean towards Subaru when the route gets rough and Toyota when it's mostly highway. Safety and long-term costs keep this tight. Both stack driver assist tech across trims, and both have strong reliability and resale. My quick guidance is simple. Want efficiency, a smoother commute, and stronger infotainment options? RAV4 gets the nod. Want all-weather traction, easier visibility, and trail-ready geometry right off the lot? Forester is the smarter buy. No cap. Pick the one that matches your life, not the marketing.